You took your glasses off and you look kind of naked right now, as opposed to when you actually FaceTimed me yesterday when you were naked.
You know what? It was an urgent call. I needed to speak to you. I was not nude. I was clothed by a towel.
Okay,
you
were toweled, but you were not clothed.
100%.
Well, I'm well aware of this because
of my intimate bits and parts.
I was not the one
concealed
who answered
to you.
Your FaceTime call.
Yes, it's always great when I'm contacting you robed in a towel, fully expecting to solve the situation that we were discussing, and your husband answers the phone, and it's a video call. Hello. No. Fortunately for us both, I immediately disconnected the call and then called back, only to find you answering the phone, which is as it should be.
Bridgerton, Pass Him Over, and the toenail debacle. All this and more on today's Brilliant Observations. Do.
She's got a little tremolo on the end. I love it.
What is going on, Miss Amy?
Hiya, babes. Well, I was channeling you this morning.
Uh-oh.
Because
what carbs did you eat while channeling me?
I purchased a goofy-ass word shirt, which perhaps you can see here. I purchased it. And I felt a little silly purchasing it, but I was like, fuck it, I'm doing it. So I bought it, and I wore it, and I loved wearing it around my domicile. And then this morning, I found myself running errands and having to drop stuff off at FedEx. And then I thought, well, if I'm right here, I'm going to go get that milk that Brian likes. And, of course, they didn't have the milk, so I'm in the thing. And then I was like, oh, fiddly fuck, I can't believe I'm walking around wearing this actual shirt. No wonder
that
people
says...
are like... It says retired hot girl.
Nice. Nice. I love it.
I'm like, fuck. Yeah.
That's
so once
awesome.
I realized that, I shopped a lot quicker.
Mine from the errands point of view, I was wearing a t-shirt the other day that said morally flexible.
Nice.
And I like it. It's a sleep shirt. Just like
yes.
you. Like it's a sleep shirt.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
It's like wearing your fuzzy
times.
Crocs outside of the house. You never do that. It's a crime. You never do that.
Well, good midday, Melissa.
Hi. It's been a week.
I know. For me as well, but I want to hear about you.
Well, let's start more globally. There was a slapper heard around the world, right?
Yes.
And everybody has had their opportunity to come out and say, you don't make fun of certain things are untouchable and you can't hit a comedian.
So the slap heard round the world has made it to your doorstep, and everyone has had the opportunity to weigh in from their particular vantage point. And I might add, they've even had the opportunity to now change their original weigh-in to a secondary weigh-in.
Because
based
it's been so
on other
long.
people's weigh. Oh, gravy.
You would think like we're watching a war in Ukraine. We're watching like we have all of these like Russia's lost its fucking mind and everything's. But let's keep talking about it. I have seen friends post on Facebook. People
some stupid batshit crazy
but some
crap.
people I adore who are way off base. Who are
oh my God, yes.
Way off base.
Well, I'm talking about Jessica Kupferman, 100%. Call her out by name because she has no problem standing on her principles. Her first blush was 100% I endorse the comedian. This was wildly out of line. This was an assault on, stop short of saying an assault on free speech, but it was like, this is not how you behave. Every joke is a joke. It's a joke. Nothing is off game. Nothing is out of bounds.
And that's where
she leaned really hard into it within minutes. Like, I think even on Oscar night leaned into it. Like, are you absolutely fucking kidding me? Crazy, crazy, crazy. And then 4 or 5 days later, I don't even know how many days later, she reposted the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar response, which I found to be a very thoughtful response, and she reposted it in its entirety and said, "Yup, 100% agree," and it basically contradicted what she had said before. So I'm like,
what was Kareem's take?
He approached it the same way that I tentatively approached it, even in the moment, which is this is not about a single joke. And this is not about two celebrities. This is rooted in the community Black experience and the individual Black experience of these two icons. And a whole bunch of other shit is layered in it as well. In addition to being about the joke. In addition to being about the hair. In addition to being about what happens when you are reaching the highest point in your career and physically can't even handle it and have no cultural reference for how to handle it and the eyes of the world and all the rest of it. This is also about
you're leading. You're
white,
not following anybody else's.
This is also about white, or you call it all of society, but really white patriarchal society that gets to decide how to handle this moment differently for us than it did for anyone else, which created its own weirdness. Let's just picture for a second anyone assaulting anyone for any purpose at any time, of any gender, right?
Would have gone
Would
down
that person,
so differently.
That's all you have to say.
So differently it would have gone down.
So my original point was, yeah, I'm going to sit this one out. Like, that's sort of, I feel like I'm not capable. I'm not capable. Well, I'm not capable. It's clearly not about this tiny tip of the iceberg moment. It's clearly not about that. And there's so much that it is about that I wouldn't even know where to go. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Nor is it our place to go, by the way.
Thank you.
My only comment on the wildly inappropriate behavior was, I made a comment to Stuart, like, why was his hand open? Why was it a bitch slap? Like, why? If
my favorite is I've heard this called a baby powder pimp slap. And I don't even know what the fuck that is, but it's so perfect. It's a wind up baby powder pimp slapped him in front of and I'm like, he did kind of pimp slap him.
Yeah.
But anyway,
yeah.
The whole thing. So Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, just to bring it full circle to what appears to be a leadership statement on this, from a strange, let's talk about a sports figure stand-up. Okay. He also very rightly layered in there that this was not a demonstration of a man standing up for his woman, that nothing could be further from the truth, that violence is the way that he's like, Jada Pinkett Smith is one of the strongest women I know. And if she can't handle words coming her way, let's all talk about the red table. I think she understands how to handle words and how to control them. So we're fine, and she's fine.
I also personally feel like she's bat fucking shit crazy, and she has a wild, they have shown their relationship in the public to be uneven hand. It's very intense and probably verbally abusive. Like the looks, the comments, like they are wound so tightly. And Will just came out with a book that clearly described how he's always felt like a pussy his whole life, and he never stood up for his mother. Like, he has systematic.
There was a history of trauma and violence and his response to it,
right,
that led to this
as
well.
Correct.
Yeah.
So he has come out with that. Which is part of this is his cultural whatever that he grew up with. That's Kareem's take, and that's fine. And I wouldn't know about that normally if he didn't just write a book and share with the entire world how he's felt like a wimp and he's felt insignificant because he watched abuses in his family and he did nothing. Time and time again, he sat and did nothing. And first initially laughing at a joke. What is that blonde Republican talking head asshole that always
female?
Yes.
Isn't her name Ann Coulter?
Ann Coulter, yeah. So she was at a roast a couple of years ago, and they ripped her apart into fucking shreds. You could see through her. She was ripped the fuck apart, and nobody took it easy on her. And then she got up and she did it too, because it's a roast in the name of comedy, in the name of whatever. I think Will Smith was laughing. Because even if it was uncomfortable and awkward, because like I tell my kids, if you're in a situation, count to 10 in your head. Laugh it off, count to 10 in your head, because your initial fly off the handle is not going to be appropriate. And I really feel like he turned and he looked at Jada, and she had the face of, are you going to let him talk about me that way? But I saw her face and I saw his change when he saw her face. I mean, 3 different angles. It was like the Zabruta film. It was just like it came from everybody has a theory. Everybody has and are you entitled to? Sure, you could think what you want. I really feel like Will Smith has put himself in a place to be that role model, and he is a walking, talking, slapping failure. And Stewart said, when talking about this, I said, is there any way that you could see that happening? And he said, from words, no. But if I felt you were physically threatened or I was physically threatened, I mean, I couldn't bitch slap someone, but like if I had to throw a punch in physical defense of self, yeah. And I'm with Stu on this. I think safety would have to be threatened for any physical thing to have to happen for me. Would you
Really?
would you throw a punch?
Of course. So I don't like it. That would be my immediate physical response. I wouldn't. The physiological response would be for that action to begin motion, and then my brain would stop it.
Right.
I don't. You know what I mean. But that would be my first inclination.
Knee
to
jerk?
the point. Yeah. Well, I mean, I will be honest. I wasn't watching the award show at the moment, but it happened, and my husband was watching it in the other room, and he either called me in or the news alerted me or something. So I saw it before the evening was even over.
Yeah.
Because it was all that anyone could speak about. Oh, he saw it, and he had to prove that it even happened. There was some Japanese footage that aired it live, including the double
Keep
curse
my
fest that
wife's
happened,
name
the
out of
whole
your
thing.
fucking mouth. Wait,
Over
what?
and over. Sure. So
What?
yeah. So you watch it and it's like, yeah, that shit really happened, and that was not kind of part of it. So after all of that kind of settled down, my immediate response was wrong, which was on a very small level. Good for you, Will Smith.
Really?
I understand. Good for you. You're, Chris Rock should know better was my immediate response. Chris Rock, who has done a documentary on the importance to black women of their hair.
Good hair.
Should have
yeah.
fucking known better. Okay? That was an off-topic, off-limits joke, and he should have fucking known it. And I understand the reaction, and I can even, on some level, give a little Chris Rock used to make a joke about O.J. Simpson killing those people. And he'd say, I'm not saying he should have killed her, but I understand.
Right.
That
I
was his
remember that.
joke that he would make. And that's sort of how I felt. I'm not saying he should have slapped him, but I understand. I mean, that's sort of my response to it. And then, as the evening
That's
wore
very
on,
true.
and Tiffany Haddish comes out and says, yeah, fuck you. That's not how you talk to a woman. And I'm right there with you, Will. And I mean, I sort of was like, okay, I mean, I'm going to keep this opinion to myself, but, my little righteous heart on some level was like, yeah, fuck you. And then as you evaluate and consider and start to think about what actually happened and the fallout of what actually happened, the very next day, my kids were talking about it who had no interest in the Oscars at all.
Why would
Wouldn't have even
Right.
known it was an event. Talking about it, reviewing it, laughing. And I shut them down hard on the way to school. And I said, first of all, you are white. This is not your conversation. And they're like, you're racist. And I said, call it what you want. Sit this shit out. This has nothing to do with you. You don't fully understand it. It's not done in context that you can even approach. Stay out of it. Shut the conversation down. You can listen. You can absorb what people are saying, but it's not for you. So shut it. In the same way, if this was a conversation about women's reproduction, that shit ain't for you. Sit down. You can
Yeah, but
get a little
they-
older before you have that conversation,
Right, you
young
can't-
white teens.
You can't
Yeah.
police it, but you can have an opinion on it. They can
No,
absolutely
you
have
shut
an
down
opinion.
your side of the
Yes,
conversation. Yeah,
right.
no, I'm like, you're not going to go in and say, look at this video, hee hee ha ha, look at these memes, which is what they were doing. They were just contextualizing it as this is the joke of today. I mean, and the memes were fucking funny, but nope, that's not what we're going to do. No. And then days went on, and again, I sort of found myself seeing lots of posts that would say, I'm sitting this one out. I'm on the sofa. And then, somebody posted something, all this slap conversation must conclude by Thursday, end of day, the management. Like just cute little, shit going around and around. But honestly, the more the thing started to get unpacked, the more that I realized the Kareem Abdul-Jabbar response was right on the money. I mean, I felt it and had heard other people saying snippets of it. So when he put it all in one, I was like, yeah, that's the right answer. And I'm glad he said it. Elder statesman, bring it. What also really caught me in a way that Jessica's post didn't. So I give her credit for, I think, tapping into something rightly, but perhaps expressing it in a way that didn't resonate for me and I didn't think reflected well of her at the time. What I saw mirrored the same perspective was Wanda Sykes sitting there saying, okay, this is assault on a comedian for words. So what's that going to do for every comedian in every comedy club ever more? This is a bomb at the airport moment. This is a, Donald Trump erosion moment, in the sense that now the veil of societal behavior has been lifted in such a way that safety we didn't even realize we enjoyed is gone. Protection we didn't even realize we had is gone. It's already kind of scary to be a female comic moving through the world. Now we got to worry about people not liking what you say and getting up and being physical
coming
with
at
you.
Right.
Not even coming at you. We got to talk about violence. We got to talk about sanctioned violence. We got to talk about, it was so wildly not okay from that precedent setting standpoint. And now as we continue to be further and further away from it, there's a lot of back and forth over, was he asked to leave the show and refused to leave the show? And today it's now come out, somebody said he was asked to leave the show because they asked Chris Rock if they should ask him to leave the show. And Chris Rock said no, which again, I'm like, it's not really between Chris Rock and Will Smith. It's between the sponsoring organization and fucking sanctioned violence. So, I mean,
right, as far as
he should have been
leaving the
escorted
show.
out. He
Right.
just should have been, he should have had the class to react to that. I am no longer in control of my amygdala moment.
I got to get out
this
of
was
here.
a fight.
Remove
this
yourself
was a fight.
from the situation.
He was, I believe, absolutely triggered and had a fight response, fight, flight, freeze. He had a fight response, which means your brain is not in control. Your body is in control. And when he regained his control, he should have stood up and fucking left. And not stood there and just did whatever the fuck he did, bald or whoever. I didn't listen to his speech. I don't care about it. So my point to you is he should have left. And if he didn't have the wherewithal to leave, he should have been helped to leave.
So the Academy said that they asked him to leave through his management. Nobody's speaking directly to him. And they said, no, he's not going to go, knowing full well he's winning an award later. Amy Schumer was fucking hilarious as usual when she said, finally, we honor these two incredible women of sport and power by making a movie about their dad. Yeah. Like, what the fuck is, like, and then she came out just after this and said, oh, I was just in the back changing. Did anything happen? Did I miss anything?
Yeah. Hilarious.
She's fantastic. And there was no review of the three of them hosting this award show because everything was overshadowed. Coda, a deaf cast, a 99% deaf cast. Are you out of your minds? And none of this is acknowledged because Will Smith lost control of his body, mind, and right arm.
They had the gall to ask Questlove after receiving an Oscar for Best Documentary Film for Summer of Love what he thought about the slap.
Oh, fucking God.
At the fucking after podium, you're holding the award in your hand. And his answer was, I'm here to talk about my film.
Thank God for
which
you,
just
Quest.
won an award. That's why I'm here. Why are you here, reporter? Bonsia.
I am so grateful that my children are not of an age where I need to craft words for them so much anymore. My words for them these days are, what did you think about that? I want to know because I think they have minds. I'm looking for a mind at work. They definitely have minds at work. And I want to know what they think of it because I want to know if they are on their own coming up with, I am pasty white. This isn't my fight. Somebody else said, what if it was two Jewish comedians or actors, or they replaced it with like Jerry Seinfeld and somebody else. And I kind of supported Jessica's initial, dude, you need comics. You couldn't walk out of your house or show teeth until comedians after 9/11 made it okay. These are the people you look to in your society. These are the people who these are your jesters. They make things normal. They make things seem normal. They point things out that are not right. You know what? He did do an entire documentary on good hair with his daughters. He understands that. The joke was about G.I. Jane 2. That movie came out in like 1997.
Don't kid yourself. The joke was about her being bald. It's 100% about her being bald, period. That's it. That's
right, because Demi Moore, one of the other great beauties with the longest, most gorgeous hair of Hollywood, shaved her head because she was a powerful force. And yes, so he made a joke about that. Is it in poor taste? Yes. Is that what comedians do? Second, yes. So way out of line. Violence is never the answer unless you're defending yourself physically. And I'm curious to know other people's thoughts on it as kids, having kids, and what they thought.
For me, it was really about my short-lived sympathy for him trying to be chivalrous, right? And launch
That's
a duel
chivalry.
in the sight of it is on some level. It is on some level. It is on some
I
level
don't see it that way.
he only took offense on her behalf. That on that level alone, that is, he took offense on her behalf and attempted to remedy it. He absolutely did not remedy it. He made the wrong choice. It is not chivalry to behave the way he did.
Right, correct.
But the response was one rooted in, I am here to be in defense of and support and come to the aid of, right? None of it was necessary. It was all stupid.
Okay.
And he acted like a fucking douche. I'm just saying, on some really old-fashioned traditional level, I do think that there are jokes that go too far. And I do think that jokes are an important part of our human experience, a unique, important part of our human experience. So I accept jokes that go too far on the face of them as something that I need to sit with and figure out why it bothers me so much. That's what I do with jokes that go too far. I don't like them. I don't like that kind of comedy. I don't like rudeness and all that kind of stuff. I can't watch, Borat and all this kind of stuff. And I believe and agree with everything he's saying, and I cannot watch it.
Yeah, I know. We talked about that before. You're like, he's brilliant and necessary. I just can't be a part
Andy
of it.
Kaufman.
I get it.
Andy Kaufman. There's so much of that stuff that I can't. I just absolutely have to appreciate it for what it's doing, and then it's a way homer for me. I'm just going to figure it out later. So. Yeah, so I don't want to try and come up with some arbitrary, is it okay for somebody to, as they did at his roast I'm blanking on his name. My favorite comedian, I don't think you like very much, from Saturday Night Live, who covers his body with all the
talking about
tattoos.
his father and 9/11.
Yes, his father dying in 9/11, or him having really, really unmanageable mental illness, or quasi drug addiction,
or
and all the
sleeping
things.
with a Kardashian. Yeah, I mean,
all the fucking things. So it's like, at what point do you?
Well, Pete Davidson. Okay, so let's use him as an example. Boy, did he and what's her name? They all took it really well. They sat there and they smiled and they laughed. They did the appropriate thing.
And a roast is a vastly different environment where you are.
Don't hire a comedian to come.
You've steadied your stomach for a pummeling. You know that the punches are coming. You're sitting there with the expectation that I am here to be made as uncomfortable as possible. Take it how you're going to take it. Get your head in the right space, or don't go. Right? So this was not a roast. This was tag, you're fucked. And that I don't like.
And they're all dressed to the nines. And we talked about last week how when your sons go away to D.C., they dress in khakis and button-downs because it does change your behavior. You're not going to climb that fucking statue in nice khakis and be inappropriate. Like, you're going to behave better the nicer you're dressed. And as much as I supported it in the last podcast, I think the Oscars might have thrown like a tiny wrench into my plan of dress better, act better.
I wanted to go look up that outfit and see. I had it in my head that I was going to do it, and then I never did, to go look up acne and see if the shoulder pads really were too high, or if you needed to be browbeaten into keeping this jacket for yourself.
We called them, and they emailed us a return label, and they said, if you could bring it, and Stuart said, I'm going to stop you right there. why don't you have UPS come and pick it up from our house, and I will tape this box up for you, because it was opened, because it was to our address and we didn't realize it wasn't for us.
Right.
And my wife might have tried on the jacket.
Right.
So we taped it out. He printed out the return, taped it up, and put it in front of the garage. And then the next day they did come to pick it up. So he did the right thing after absorbing the third Peloton. He did the right thing there. This week, though, I have to say,
yes,
was a slightly traumatic week. Do you ever walk into things?
Hi, my name is Amy.
I kick the bottom of my bed, my metal furniture.
With a great and vast many things.
Usually right after a pedicure, right? You kick the dresser because you turned around, or you tried to not kick the dog by tripping up. Every time.
Or the dog will come and go, "Hi, mommy, love you." Step on your toes. And
right after the pedicure. So I've had a couple of toe traumas. You drop a cleat or something and it hits right at the wrong spot on the wrong angle. And I had a loss of a toenail.
Ew.
And by loss, I mean,
ew.
It was like a door that opened up. No. Dear John Buchanan, if you thought dogs eating their own eye boogies were bad, I had an incident this week.
Stop it. Oh, say, can you see?
So you know your toenail. It's only attached in 3 places, right? The top of your toenail. The top of your toenail attaches to nothing. And then there's 2 sides and a bottom that attach to your skin.
What did you kick? Were you talking about Jada Pinkett Smith's hair again?
Well,
Did Will come and rip your toenail off?
Well, so
gross.
It turns out that because I go from pedicure to pedicure, I might not have realized that I had a hint of toe fungus going on underneath there.
What?
And the trauma that I absorbed several times.
No.
Those 3 places of contact.
I'm going to stop you right there.
We're down to
Stuart.
1 place of contact.
Stop it.
And
stop
like
it.
a door on a
No, we're
hinge.
talking. She won't listen. You're going to have to stop. You're going to have to stop talking about. I'm going to talk to you right now about fungus.
Peekaboo opened the nail to the bed underneath. And I spent 7 hours doing exactly what Amy is doing right now.
Did you do this in the chair with the soup water underneath you so that you had?
No, I didn't get the pedicure. I didn't get the pedicure.
Worker?
I had an old pedicure on my feet and a flap of a toenail with just, pussy bed underneath. It was really bad. It was really, really bad.
What kind of monster are you?
So I'm like,
what kind?
I said, I'm
what
disgusting.
Kind?
I have
you
a toe fungus.
Kind?
And I got super judgy of a toe fungus because that to me is a sign of filth. And I'm a super clean human.
No, you're not. Look at your feet. No, you're not. That ship has sailed, Jeremy. You're gross.
So
that's gross. Your husband is in the biz. And this is what happens to you? What are you, diabetic? How do you not know what the fuck is happening with your fucking feet?
So here's the other thing, right?
Oh, God.
You know when you have a little crack in your fingernail and you get caught on every sweater and you get caught on... So picture that as your flap of a toenail when you go to put on pants and there's just a flapping in the wind because it is still attached on 1/3 of the 3.
Why?
So here's what happens. I call the podiatrist, which is really what I thought super old people do. I think my mother goes every other month to get her toenails cut, and I laugh at her.
At the podiatrist?
Yeah.
Why? What's wrong?
Well, I don't know.
With them?
Obviously, it's fucking genetics, and it's about to take over this person. Pointing.
I still
to myself.
don't understand how you could have had decorative lacquer applied to your carefully sculpted feet.
Yes.
And no one noticed.
No.
The evil that lurked beneath.
Correct.
I don't understand. That's their job.
You had one job.
They are board certified by the people of health with that little dollar bill size thing they printed out and put in the frame that doesn't fit with their name on it from going to the cosmetic school.
They are board certified.
I'm gonna revoke your funicular license, right? Or whatever it is that you have.
I want to know
off the wall.
The board that's certified.
School of Beauty. Yeah, no. That's a D rating. You know how they put those numeric ratings on the thing for fast food? And they put it right up in the window? You're going to get a failed rating.
Yeah.
Because they also had to take the clippers and the chippers or whatever, those little side piece ones that go ding, 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 and they use them on other people. So they were using.
Well, they put them in the whatever clave.
You think they do? They couldn't tell that you had a fungal growth. You don't know what the fuck they're doing. Maybe they gave it to you.
Maybe they gave it to
from
me.
Someone else.
I mean, it's not like I'm athletic, so I don't know where it would have come from otherwise.
Oh my God, you were foot compromised.
I
would call them and tell them they gave you an infection. And then maybe see if you can get a free pedicure out of it.
I can't pedicure for quite some time, actually. So
that's so gross. That's so gross.
It's so gross.
Wow.
So I make an appointment. I call the podiatrist, and this lovely woman answers, and she says, "Hi, what's going on?" I'm like, "Well, I have."
Oh my God. First of all, can you imagine having to be a fucking receptionist at a podiatry office? They have to ask all that shit.
Can you imagine being a podiatrist?
Why are you doing this? What happened in your life? Why did things go so horribly wrong? I feel so bad for you now.
I got lots of questions for you, though. So wait. So she said, well, why don't you soak it in an Epsom salt bath in a foot soak and see, just to keep it absorb all the that's in there.
Just the word.
So here goes. It's the right big toe and it's attached on the left side, right? So the most uncomfortable part is that it pulls.
Talking about it? Is that hearing about it? Is that the worst? Is that the most uncomfortable part?
The third most uncomfortable part about it is that it pulls. It's still attached, and it's that sense of, it's less pain now that it is the tugging feeling. On your hand, it's one thing, but on your foot, it's totally another.
Are you wearing socks right now? Do you have socks on your feet?
I do, yeah. I have to.
God, for small miracles. Hopefully you've gauze wrapped that oozing cesspit.
It's not
leaking.
It's
from
not
the
oozing.
Tip of your spear.
It's not oozing at all. But I do, because I'm still riding Peloton. I did put a Neosporin Band-Aid over it. So anyway, I had to get the nail off.
Oh, God.
Because it is not doing any good, right? It's not protecting anything. It's giving me every possible heebie and jeebie as I feel the air go below the nail and tug on it.
Like you.
So
this is not something you can do yourself. You need a professional.
No.
You need to leave.
I
you
did
can't
it
talk
myself.
about it anymore.
I took super tiny, super sharp scissors.
Okay.
Amy took her headphones off. I did it. I broke Amy.
Get it all out. Whatever you got to fucking say.
I took
Get it out.
teeny tiny, super sharp scissors and I started to cut the perimeter of the side that was left.
I don't know what the fuck you're saying, but you're making little stabbing and slicing motions with your fingers. You're so gross.
And I separated myself from the third of the nail. So once that nail was off and I finished vomiting in the sink, I thought I should have used the toilet to vomit because the sink is a terrible thing that I now have to clean. So, okay, the toenail is off and hold on. I'm
watching your face and I've started doing my Navy SEAL breathing. That's what I'm doing. I'm doing my Navy SEAL breathing.
Come back. Amy, come back. Come back.
You're inviting me back?
I'm inviting you back. I won't be gross.
You're going to be gross?
I won't be gross.
I can't hear what you're saying.
Well, then put your fucking headphones on. And
are you going to be gross?
I won't be gross.
Are you going to keep being gross?
But here's something I haven't experienced. I haven't been to a doctor in years, but I went to the doctor's office and I'm already judging because the office is the size of a thimble. It's from the early 70s. And this is a doctor who my husband recommended because
He didn't want to touch your funky feet.
I wouldn't let him near my foot. I still want him to fuck me. There's no way I'm going to have him go near.
No, fair enough.
The grossest, right.
Yeah, pus pocket. Let's leave that one off.
Meanwhile, this is the man who watched me deliver my son, and not 6 weeks later was he back at the mothership.
That part I don't get. That part I
know. My kids are 13 months apart. It's not because he was like, ooh, that was tough to see. I'm going to need to. Nope. No refractory period there for him.
I did not end up requiring surgery with any of my births, but it was well known to me by my husband. C-section stands for see you later. I'm not going. If you have a C-section, yawn. So good luck. I hope it works out fine for you. And there's a baby at the end. I won't be there.
Cigars outside.
Call me when it's done.
See you later.
That's it.
I like that.
That's it. Peace out.
I'm judging this place because it's so old. Like, you're making bank here. Could you put some of it back into the office or move to the old lady receptionist was like horrible.
She's sad. This is somebody who is destitute. I mean, maybe this is like a halfway job when you get out of prison that you have to deal with feet, right? I mean, we should be grateful.
It's continued punishment for whatever your crime was. I think I saw Will Smith on the calendar.
She's trying to rejoin her place in society, and she's working off the debt. So I have sympathy in my heart for her. Someone who chooses this and studies it as a profession is mentally ill and super gross.
I waited in that waiting room with sandals on because I was not. Everybody there was super old and had like big socks and orthopedic shoes on. And then there's Melissa with my little Tiva sandals.
Oh my Jesus!
There were 5 chairs. 5 chairs and 11 people.
I can picture the scene. What were the magazines in there?
There were no magazines. You can't touch anything. 5 chairs, 11 people. It was crazy.
What?
And we were standing on top of each other because the waiting room is so small.
On your weird pussy feet.
On my weird pussy. So I'm kind of like curling it so nobody could see my toe. Like, I thought there would be open feet there. No, not a foot to be seen.
Have sense. Well, they've been. This is not their first toe
rodeo. It is not. This is definitely my first todeo. Like, this is it. And that is the name of this episode. Slap the todeo.
Well, I got to take a dog leg here and just tell you. The middle child. Who else? Had a hangnail, and it drove him insane. It drove him to distraction. He wouldn't let anybody touch it. He wouldn't let anybody address it, couldn't trim it. He heard from a friend who had a hangnail, who went to the podiatrist. Our in-town podiatrist has TV ads. He runs commercials that he's in with his family, talking about this, talking about that. I bet you
he's got a nice office and waiting room.
His office is equally weird in the opposite direction. It was gigantic, and it was all movie themed. So every room was a different collectible movie thing. We ended up in the Star Wars room, which was kind of cool.
Perfect.
He had all these movie posters signed. He had like a Jaws room. He had all this memorabilia. There was more money in the memorabilia in there. It made me think I'm paying too much to get this fucking hangnail trim. I'll tell you what. Anyway, but big giant leather lazy boys in the waiting room.
This is the antithesis of where I spent the day yesterday.
Huge fish tank the whole time. Why did they put the fucking fish out? Everybody with the fucking fish tank. No, there were enough seats for us to sit down. Yes. Anyway,
so everybody stacked on top of each other. Right. But I want to ask you, and we discovered it when we pulled into the parking lot that was way too small, and Stuart had to sit out there and wait for someone to leave, which took 20 minutes. But my question is, why do I have 0.0 in patience? I sat there with this sketch toe, feet out, for an hour. I waited for an hour in a waiting room for a doctor.
You wouldn't wait an hour to get boned with a solid gold dildo. When are you going to wait for anything?
Because I don't know anything about what to do for my foot. I could figure out how to get boned with a solid gold dildo for an hour. Like, that I know is joy at the end, but I'm stressing over what the fuck is going to happen next about what's oozy goopy and an hour. And I brought Stuart with me. I don't need my husband to go to a doctor with me.
No, you super don't, and he doesn't need to sit in the fucking driving lot for an hour.
So he
it's
is
called
there.
A parking lot.
I brought him. Yeah, it is. I brought him because of this very reason, that I have 0.0 patience and he had 1,000 patience, which is why he did not even get to see me until last possible second. So an hour later, they move me into a room and he comes in and of course he does the "I'm talking to your husband, not you" kind of thing, shook his hand. And I thought, I waited an hour to be ignored. Hey, I'm the one with the pus toe. My eyes are up here. Come with me. Like, what?
Wow.
Right. So.
Wow.
So he looked at it and he's like, I got to tell you, like, he didn't say you got nice feet, but he's like, this is a fucking treat compared to what I see all day. He's like,
oh my God, I'm so sickened. That's really sad.
This is his
I
job.
guess it feels nice.
I mean,
to be least worst toe. But wow.
As a bad toe, it was his least worst toe.
I got to tell you, it's a weird pecking order because I kind of wanted to be the worst he's ever seen, too. I also am kind of in the thing where I have suffered the indignity and pain and fucking moral outrage.
You didn't even
of this
hear
entire
the part.
condition. I should be the worst toe infected ever
that you've
Yep.
seen. But you didn't even hear the part where I had to cut off that third leg, right? So.
Are you done?
I am.
Are you done?
Yes, I'm done. So I thought it was super interesting that he said, this one toe, I don't want anything to happen to it. He's like, it could have been a fungus that compromised it and then a trauma. And I said, yeah, that's what I told you when I came in here.
I watched the Oscars. So
that was traumatic. Thank you for repeating back what I've already said to you. I feel like I went to podiatric college right now. So,
oh my God, you're so judgy and mean. I love it.
I waited an hour. What the fuck are you okay with? That was my question for you this week. What are you okay to wait an hour for? For grammatically, for what are you okay waiting an hour?
A vast and great many things, actually.
Really?
I think. Yeah. I think the challenge becomes...
Where are my AirPods?
No. I have to frame it differently. What am I okay waiting an extra hour for? When you go someplace and where you anticipate you're going to wait 5 to 18 minutes.
I was going to say 20.
It's an hour.
Okay, go ahead.
Right, and it's an hour. That's a different kind of wait. I'll wait for an hour for something, and because I sort of have it in my head that it's like, all right, there's going to be a wait for this, right? You see a really long line for a deli or a movie or who knows what it is, and you're gonna wait because I came here for this. This is what I'm here for. You wait for a table, whatever. I know people who won't wait for tables. Doesn't matter what the restaurant is. Doesn't matter what city they're in, or that they came here just for this experience. They won't fucking wait. That's
Everywhere I go with you, we wind up waiting for a table, and I'm good with it.
Because I take you to good places. So, and of course you got to wait. So,
but you didn't have an appointment. I had an appointment.
No. That's the thing.
Okay.
That's the thing.
It's not call ahead seating.
I know.
And I'm not getting a juicy burger or one of your amazing omelets, or I sent you another food TikTok today. Like all of these beautiful things that go in my pie hole.
The TikToks that you send me are so fucking weird because they don't come in the way you send them.
I don't get it.
The TikToks you send me, it'll go like blip, and then it'll play something that is so bizarre. And then I realize, oh, she didn't actually send that. That's TikTok trying to stick one in. And then like on the third time that I try to play it, it'll play the thing that you referenced in the text before. Like, this is so funny. And you'll send me like a shooting. Like, it's the weirdest thing. Yes. The
Dear
one
listener,
that you sent
do
me
you
and
have
said,
that problem, or do you send a TikTok and they get it? I've never seen.
No. You sent me a TikTok,
a trailer.
And the most recent one, you said it was a picture of a young-ish middle-aged woman, right? White woman, on the freeze frame.
Yeah.
And then you follow it up with a text that says, "Is this you?" ? So I press play, and it goes blip, and then there's a different, much younger woman facing the camera with headphones on. And I'm like, I don't feel like that was the same woman, but I didn't look that closely. And then someone walks in behind her, and it's pretty clear that it's her mom, who's on the younger side of things. And the mom starts accusing her, "Did you sleep with your fucking teacher, Lucretia or something?" And they're all, and the girl goes,
"That's not from me."
And then there was like and then there was a cartoon bunny that comes in and goes, "I did it again." And I'm like,
"That's not from me."
And the text you had sent me said, "Is this you?" I'm like, "No, I didn't sleep with my teacher." And then I was like, "Do you think my kids sleep with their teacher?" Yeah, that's TikTok. That's my TikTok experience.
What came right after that?
It was the nothing. I pressed play and it played it again. And then I pressed play a third time and a third time and it was the one you actually sent me.
Okay.
It was this fanny pack snacks. This lady, right? The very first time I played it, it was these weirdos having a sex moment. And then you sent me one that ended up being about bagel and lox, and it played something else bizarre. It played Keanu Reeves stretching. Before the bagel and lox, I saw a TikTok about Keanu Reeves stretching, which I
don't think you would mind that.
I didn't mind it at all. I'm just saying, TikTok, I don't get it. And with that, I have deftly switched us from the toenail debacle. I didn't mean to. I will wait for an hour for a lot of things. I will just be angry about it. I've lost my will to get up and leave because I desire the fucking thing so badly. And it's not that I even want it. It's just that I've decided I can't do without it.
Okay.
It's very rare when I'm going to get up and leave.
But there's a payoff at the end of it, which is usually food induced. Like it I guess releases endorphins in some way. If I'm doing that, you better be a bakery. You better have cookies.
I only came here because you had something that I needed. It was something I ordered, and I'm supposed to pick up. It was a visit where you're going to be assisting me. I'm only here.
I made an appointment.
I'm only in this situation because there's a tacit agreement
that you're going to fix my sketchy toe. Right.
You have, I don't. And if that situation doesn't exist, I'm not waiting for shit.
I do have to tell you,
I will drive off, walk off, drop a bomb, see ya.
I do have to say, though, I mean, what were my choices, right? I don't know what to do with this. My husband's like, well, I would have given it to a podiatry resident, so I don't really know either. But I know it's the worst. But he said to me,
I'm so curious, and I would love a follow-up question, but I'm not going to ask it because I don't want to hear it. Is the number one answer.
So
no, it's really a tough situation to be in because I really want to know, but I also understand I cannot.
So if you want to know, there's obviously one listener who wants to know. Just ask it, and I'll do it quickly.
I think we're done. I don't think it's appropriate. I don't want to know.
Do it.
I don't want to. I super don't. I know. I don't want to know. I don't know. I don't want to. I'm traumatized by your toe. I'm traumatized.
I'm traumatized as well. I think less of myself. I had to take off all the polish. My feet are naked right now. They don't like being this way, but to keep them healthy for like.
Do you have weird feet or do you have good feet?
No, I have really nice feet until like there's like a little white at the end of the toe, right? And then one toenail that's
outlier
missing. So
did he physically? Now it is no more.
No, I took it off. You took your headphones off. I cut it off.
So what does he have you do? Did that just hit your fuck? You just don't get a toenail now? What happens?
I don't know what happens. It's got to grow back. But in the meantime,
take
to
like
make
9
sure
months.
It could 6 months, but to make sure that nothing grows there that shouldn't grow there, he gave me something to paint on it for this week, and then next week I start a laser treatment for my toes. Laser.
How fucking white are you?
Right, keep going. Why? Go ahead. Why is it so white?
How many commas are in your laser toe treatment?
None. It's free.
Because it's not free, Tootsie Bear. It's included.
No.
That's what it is.
He wouldn't take a copay from me because I brought Stuart. He won't charge me for whatever the prescription medication he gave to paint on, and he is not charging for the laser treatment.
That's obscene.
No, it's the boys' club, and for so long, it's the boys' club. So I brought my golf-playing husband to see a golf-playing doctor who made us wait an hour, and then he's like, yeah, we don't charge doctors and their wives for this treatment. So just show up on Thursday. And I opened my calendar on my phone, and Thursday said OBGYN. You're taking care of all of my holes. And that is always followed by, wow, you haven't had a mammogram in a while. Here's script for that too. And they wind up like catching me in a vice, putting me in a chair, going in my hole, catching me in a vice, squeezing the boob, and electrifying my toes, it seems now.
That is so... I'm so jealous.
That's why I'm white.
Treatment.
Right, that's why I'm so white.
Super jealous of your health care. I don't have any of that.
I haven't seen a doctor.
I have to wait 4 months for a fucking colonoscopy. Not only do I have to have it, I have to wait for it because of the way the change in the insurance has prompted.
Yeah, your husband screwed you on that one. He did not think.
Well, you got to have all new. You got to have all new people, and that means that whenever you have a new doctor, it's like, hi, 3 months. So, which I'm convinced is just their way of throttling care. So
I too am on my husband's medical insurance. Our family is, and when that's going to change,
otherwise known as sucking, I'm a doctor.
When that's going to change, he says, the practice is about to change insurances. I'd like you to see whatever doctors you need to see now before that happens. I get the heads up before the insurance changes so that I don't have to do exactly what you're doing right now, which is the scramble and waiting 3 years to get a doctor's appointment.
And in fairness, he would not have made any different decision. He made a decision that was best for his company, of which we are beneficiaries of the insurance that he has at his company. So it was made for that reason. Having said all of that, he doesn't go to a fucking doctor. He doesn't realize that his kids go to doctors for things like, I don't know, a school physical or getting a vaccine shot or any kind of regular records. I don't think he's been to a doctor like ever. He just doesn't go. What's he going to go to the fucking doctor for? He's a man. Once you get to a certain age, it's like, unless your shit's dropping off or turning black, it's fine, right? You don't go for no reason, for nothing.
Well,
that's it.
I think my toenails did both of those. So.
We've got up top problems. We've got up in your problems. We've got poop shoot problems. We got all the shit. We got to fucking do all the things. When you turn 50, the wheels fall off the bus, and magically now you got to meet all these fucking people to do all this stupid thing. I hate it.
And you have to wait even longer. Let's see. Passover is our next holiday, and I don't know how this happened, but all of the families in Stuart's family with whom we spend our holidays have downsized. Their kids have gone to college. They've all downsized, and the only human left with a Gesunda house to host 17, 20 people is this brilliant.
I'm looking at her.
You are.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if your foot's up to it, baby. Are you keeping that shit under wraps?
That would be a great excuse. Do you want to see it?
You stop it, and you're fucking hosting it, and you better stop it. You better stop it.
So I called the butcher yesterday, and I said, I'm hosting 17 people. How much brisket do I need for 17 people? And he's like, well, I'm like, don't answer. Just prepare it. I'll be there on the 14th to pick it up. I said, I didn't ask you to cut my toenail off. You don't have to ask
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel is
me
here to pick up her brisket.
Plot the brisket.
You want your free chops? Yeah. Okay.
No, just free laser annihilation of unhealthy toast.
Oh, my God.
So I have a turkey that someone else is going to cook for me because I'm afraid with salmonella I'm going to kill guests at my house because I don't cook turkeys.
That's fair. That's fair.
So I'm going to do brisket because I know when that's done because it falls apart in your fucking mouth. That's
perfect.
Clearly done. And lots of sides. Matzo ball soup, charoset.
What are the limitations here?
Nothing that's leaven.
Is this a Seder or is this
a
sumptuous past? It's all happened now so we can relax feast and you can kind of eat whatever the fuck you want.
No, it's supposed to be a Seder, but Melissa's hosting, so it's probably going to be, here's a picture of a Seder plate, and on the picture there's a shank bone, a boiled potato. There are five symbols on the plate.
You're not going to make the shank bone. Why are you making a face?
What in our history together makes you think I have?
You get to have basically. Can it be veal shank or does it have to be lamb shank? Does it have to be a lamb shank bone? Stop making these faces.
I don't really have an answer to your question. I assumed it was a lamb shank.
Well, veal is also buco. Oh my God, it's so good.
Yeah, it's a symbol. It's not a meal on a plate.
Well, but you eat the bone. You eat the actual marrow. That's the dish. But in any event, it's delicious. In any event, okay. I saw at the market. The Shishi market.
Yeah.
They have a solid chocolate Seder plate. Is this such a thing? Her eye is twitching. It was very large, like a platter size.
Yeah.
And it was some sort of, Holy Jew brand has this big, giant chocolate formed plate with all the things kind of like carved into it. Is that it?
Yep, that's the thing.
You know about these?
Yeah,
You've had these?
I've seen them before. I've stabbed them with a knife.
You could go that way.
I've stabbed them with a knife to get a piece to break off to steal and eat. They're never
If you're not going to do
delicious.
like the salt, the honey, the egg, the whole thing. Oh, because they're kind of. But it would also preclude you from putting actual, beef entrails and everything else on it because it's just for show. It's just the chocolate plate.
I think I could print it out from the internet, the interweb, and get that right at the center of the table.
Well, we have to do fucking 40 days of fucking pain and nothing, but all right.
Yeah, but what do you
Let's
do
all
for
plan
40
that
days?
He's gonna die. Yeah.
What are you doing for 40 days?
If I observed Lent, which I do not. The observance of Lent is to, through sacrifice, through thoughtful sacrifice, to prepare your body and your mind for the presence of God. It is our highest holy day is the resurrection story, right? So the 40 days leading up to it, you are to have sacrifices that cause you to be more mindful. In the past,
love it. Go ahead.
This took the form of you don't get to, you give up something for Lent. Many other people have now interpreted it as, what am I going to add during Lent? So it's about shedding things, but it's also taking on things so that you're broadening your spirit, so that you're growing closer. But it's not meant to be easy. It's meant like many religious traditions. This is a period where make life fucking harder on yourself within reason so that you can appreciate, right, where you are, what you have to give, move past it, and, live brighter to do more for all, including yourself.
So you
grow
give
closer
up
to
40
that whole
days
deal.
of sweets and chocolate and all this, and then you get a huge basket at the end.
Right.
Of
The
all
easy
the
old gag. The easy old gag was that you would pick something that you would abstain from for the 40 days. Right. A lot of people would do wine. We see how that's going to fucking go. Chocolate, meat, everything. A lot of people now do Facebook. Like it's a social media fast. They're going to do all these fucking things, and then it's been tied with
is that the
ways
meat
to keep
on
the church
Fridays?
going.
Is that?
Yeah, that was
Lent?
and that was also to prop up, the fish industry and to also help struggling communities that didn't have enough to go around. And, then the whole bit with the chocolate and the candy was because there was a pagan festival that happened at the same time that was growing in popularity. So magically, we're going to say that this is all about Christ, because if we co-opt it, kind of like that show that my kids call Victory England, whatever the one is, the Gilded Age that I watch on HBO. They go, what are you watching, Victory England again? Yeah, so Victory England, where they say the new money has to be controlled by the old money, because the old money realizes if they don't, the new money will form their own society and exclude them. So that's what,
Christine
we Catholics
Baranski says. So
have done with pagan ritual. No, that was part of our thing all along. Yep, that's what we're doing, because that's us. It's just another way to keep it viable and to stay in the mix. So I don't observe that anymore. I tried to be thoughtful and mindful and expand my spirit in ways that, take on a little bit of hard news so that I can get better. I try to do that all the time. I fail at it all the time, but I am not observing anything different in Lent. Lent is boring in the sense that liturgically, every Mass is slow. There's very little music. It is, mirthless. It's just a slog. It is, let's make life fucking miserable. That's how it's interpreted. And it's like just a pall falls on everything. And then it's like,
celebrate.
Boom, the fireworks go off and
right.
We've defeated death. Ring the fucking bell, right?
We went
Have
through
some
the
cake.
desert for 40 years, 40 days, 40
Yep,
nights.
yeah.
We did. So now
that's
you
the
have
deal.
to, pull off your toenails.
It's gross. I don't know why you would do that. You're super gross.
I am super gross. Dear listener, please, 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 if I have grossed you out beyond repair, know this, even my toenail will be repaired, and I apologize. But I have to guess that some of you, too, have had this experience, and I would love it if you would share that I'm not the only one who is fucking gross. Amy's shaking her head, but she doesn't read the email. I do. So
who's
let me know. brilliantobservations@gmail.com. Tell me all about how gross you are to make me feel better. And I'll celebrate you and your toe. And if you want, I'll try to sneak you in for some free laser fixery, debauchery. I hope that your holidays are easy, your deprivation of all things joyful to then celebrate and live more mindfully. I hope that turns out to benefit all of us. You, me, the guy next to you on the train, and the 75 fucking people waiting in the waiting room of that goddamn podiatrist's
weirdest part
office.
of that whole fucking story. It's super weird and gross.
Anyway, write in, tell us all about it. Post your funny stories on Listen Brilliant on Instagram or Brilliant Observations, Brill Up Squad on Facebook. You could head to Twitter. I'll see it, but that's not our main platform. We do find some deplorable things there, but we would love to share with you if you've got joy to share. Thank you so much for listening. We love you.
Bye.